Excuse my spring allergies. Chaim, everybody.
Fine. May your spring allergies often become up discomfort.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome back, everybody, to our morning Chassidus class. We start today a new mimer, a new Chassidic discourse that was said 51 years ago. this Shabbos, actually. And it's based on a phrase that we say in Mishnah. We say it in Pirkei Avos every week. We start now every Shabbos afternoon saying the ethics of our fathers, 6 chapters, one each week. And begins with Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelik le'olam haba. All of Israel has a portion in the world to come. Now, excuse me again. Yeah, allergies.
So I take red and yellow.
So, in the Messianic era, this is a statement. All of the Jewish people have a portion in that world. By the way, the nations of the world also have a portion. They'll be part of it. In any case, this Elam Haba well, there's 2 time periods in the times of Mashiach. The first time period is where there won't be any more wars, any more famine, any more greed, because there'll be plenty for all. We, in a physical sense, we're getting closer to that. Uh, 100 years ago, there was not enough, 100 years ago, there was not enough food on the planet to feed 2 or 3 billion people at the time. Now, there's enough food to feed the entire world. Distribution issue, maybe, amongst other things. But physically, we're coming to that point. So that's the first time period. There won't be wars. There won't be famine. And there'll be plenty. Second time period is called Chiyas HaMesim, resurrection of the dead. That's the second time period. So this is what it refers to over here. Chiyas HaMesim. Now, so everybody has, all the Jewish people have a portion in that, except for those who don't believe in it. You don't believe in it, and you don't have a portion of it. Right? And, that's understood because measure for measure. You don't believe in it, so then you don't buy into it. It's not sold to you. Right? Otherwise, everybody does. And it's without condition. I know that the only condition is just to believe it. right? On the other hand, after 120 years in this world, well, the soul goes to Gan Eden, to the Garden of Eden. There, the verse says from King David in Psalm 24, Mi yale bahar, who can ascend on the mountain? The only one who is Naki Kapayim, clean hands, Var Levav, a pure heart. In other words, to be able to have the revelations, godliness in Gan Eden, it's pending on conditions. Even the lower level of Gan Eden, which is not the case of Kol Yisrael, Yeshem Chelek Olam, that they have a portion in the world to come. Without the condition, again, the one condition which kind of makes sense, got to believe in it. So we need to understand incidentally, Rambam has 13 principles of faith. The 12th is belief in Mashiach, and the 13th is resurrection of the dead. So it's like a basic principle. Okay. If you need some coffee, there's David's coffee there.
Enjoy.
So we need to understand. The revelation of godliness in the times of Tchias HaMesim, resurrection of the dead, is going to be much greater than what the soul gets in Gan Eden. Much greater. Garden of Eden, you get a ray of light of God. In the times of Mashiach, you get the essence of God. Furthermore, all the souls that are in Gan Eden right now, guess what? They come back. That's the point. What does Tchias HaMesim mean? It means there was a soul that, like Moshe Rabbeinu's soul, that is been waiting over 3,000 years. All of the prophets, all of it's a long time. So they're waiting to come back. Why are they waiting to come back? And they will come back. Is because the godliness will be a greater degree of godliness. Yet, and here's the paradox, the greater degree of godliness, there's no condition to it. The lesser degree that you get in Gan Eden, it's conditional. Right? You don't go straight to Gan Eden. There's a process. You have to go, a cleansing process. How do we understand that? Question's clear. Yeah? So we'll understand this by first understanding another point. That we speak about the revelation of godliness, Tchias HaMesim, is much greater than that of Gan Eden. Well, seemingly this itself, we need to understand why. Not questioning the fact, what we're questioning is the understanding of it. Since Gan Eden is a world of souls without bodies, and Tchias HaMesim is the opposite. It's souls in bodies. What's the explanation of that? That in the world of resurrection, the neshama, the soul, is going to be enclosed in a physical body. and at the same time have a greater revelation of godliness than the soul alone in Gan Eden. Now, even though, yes, the body will be a much refined body more than it is today, right? We put a lot of terrible things into our body, except for David's coffee. Okay. Right.
Yeah. You should rock on the phone.
So, even though the body is going to be a refined body, interesting, why is there physical death is lack of refinement of the body. Um, the refinement of the body will be as greater than even Adam. Adam Arisha. He was Yitzir Kappa Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was the handiwork of God himself in a direct manner. I mean, we're also handiwork of God, but for a mother and father, right? He didn't have that. Right. I don't know what Freud would do with him. Right. um, so he had a very refined, pure body. And ours will be even greater than Adam Arishan, than Adam. Right. But that's only an explanation of how our body is going to be a greater container for the soul in the future than it is today. Right. So that we get that. Oh, today, we wake up a little like, like this and like that. Our body is not exactly so refined. So it's going to be more, much more refined. So that we can understand, relative to today. But why would it be that this great revelation of godliness is in a soul in a body, when the body, is physical in the end, limited? As opposed to in Gan Eden, there it's just a soul that is divested of a body and the limitations of the body. Not only the limitations of the body, that the process we go through is in order to get the godliness in Gan Eden, so we got to forget, the body and its agenda. So we go through a process of a cleansing process, right? Cleansing. And when a child gets dirty and a mother parent cleanses the child, there's a cleansing, physical cleansing, but a deeper thing is a spiritual cleansing. When, so, okay, for a child, maybe the spiritual cleansing won't apply, but when we're older, so there's a physical cleansing, but there's a spiritual cleansing. And the deepest part of the spiritual cleansing would be is you forget that path that made you dirty. Right?
Right?
So Gan Eden, you go through that cleansing in order to forget that path that made you're dirty. And what made you dirty, what made you do wrong things is the body and its agenda. Of course, but that's not, yeah, of course. Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's called tshuva, right? Right? So we go through a whole process to forget that, right? To forget the body. And yet when it comes to the greater revelation of godliness, there's going to be in a body. As refined as it's going to be, it's still a body. So how do we understand that? See the paradox?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Right.
Weird.
So we have a double paradox here. One is that Gan Eden is conditional. Tchias Amesim is non-conditional. Yet Gan Eden is much loftier. I mean, Tchias Amesim, Lasid Lavai, that's a Messianic period, is much loftier than Gan Eden. Those souls that are in Gan Eden right now, they're going to come back. Well, they're not coming back for something less. They're coming back for something more. Furthermore, I mean, to answer that question, then we bring actually another question. Why would the revelation that's so lofty of Elam Haba be in a body? Or that body, when the remnants of the body or the body after it separates from the soul is still affected by that body. And therefore needs a cleansing process to forget the body, right? To forget the body and its agenda. So why would then the greater revelation of godliness be a soul in a body in times of Tchias Amesim? How do we understand that? That sounds paradoxical. So we're just going to begin the thought. The verse says, Parshas Chukas, Zois HaTorah Adam. I've had this before in my mind. Zois HaTorah. This is the Torah. What is the Torah? Adam, man. In other words, the Torah is, or rather, man is a metaphor for Torah. Adam, right? So just like a person is made up of a body and a soul, likewise the Torah is made up of body and soul. What does that mean? Stay tuned. Yes. Another question. Stay tuned.